Hello. It is Wednesday. It is noon if you're on the West Coast, and it's time for another Courier Live. This time I have back with me Nate, our head of customer success. And for those of you who have not met them, I will let them introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Nate. It's good to be back. And as you said, I'm on the customer success team here and excited to talk about Slack and trick-or-treating.
Right. So it's that time of the year. It's my favorite season. I love Halloween, and I think Halloween should be as long or longer than we give to Christmas. So 30 days of Halloween, 60 days of Halloween, all start in September. But unfortunately, with times being like it is, Halloween's a little different this year. And we were really geared up to have a really great Halloween. I think it's supposed to be a full moon on Halloween, and then the next day is the time change. And so we actually get an extra hour of Halloween. But unfortunately, we're not going to be able to celebrate it the way that we have been. Now, Nate, you have kids, right? Have they been able to go trick-or-treating yet?
I have one, and they have not yet to toddling, so not quite trick-or-treating age, but we probably would have gone out and walked the neighborhood in costumes. So
Nice.
I don't think we're.
Did you have a costume idea for him?
Oh yeah, they have like a turtle outfit. He's really into turtles for some reason, so that's what we have.
Why wouldn't you be? I love turtles. Yeah, so not only on Halloween, but like at conventions, which I haven't been able to do this year, I do a bit of cosplay, and so like I have like a Dipper from Gravity Falls costume. I also have a Riker from the Next Generation Star Trek costume that I've done, and I was looking to expand the ones that I do, but not this year. So maybe next year. So no costumes this year. But I know that we were talking internally about kind of alternatives and what you could do for trick-or-treating to make it more socially distanced, and we started brainstorming about what options we could use Courier to do. So we thought it would be cool to be able to detect when a trick-or-treater comes to your door, and then decide if we're going to give them candy as a treat or do something as a trick. And I think a lot of this came out of, and I'm going to switch my screen here. We were looking at, oh, hello, Courier. We're looking at this project for a smart security camera that you can put together using a Raspberry Pi. So let me put out this message so y'all can see. So here is the URL. It's a beautiful URL from Hackster.io. But this is kind of a full project for putting together a smart security camera. It's really cool because it uses Python and it uses some object detection, so you know when someone is near. And then whenever it's detected, if it's, determines that it's a person, it sends it out via email. And I saw a lot of potential for, instead of, sending the picture via email, sending it to Courier, and then letting whoever is putting together a notification decide what it's going to do. So I imagined, instead of building the camera like as we see here with this little box, maybe take, I have a picture here. Maybe take one of these classic jack-o'-lanterns and maybe put the camera inside the nose. So like put a little hole and stick the camera out there so it's kind of concealed. And then you can put all of your equipment inside of the bucket, and you can put it out like a decoration, right? And then you have to decide like what's going to happen with the trick and the treat. And so I was trying to put this together, but I think all of the crafters on TikTok have bought up all of these buckets. So I live in New York City, and I've been to multiple Targets that we have in different stores, and I could not find one. And if I wanted to order one online, it was going to be like $20. And I was like, this would be concept, right? So we'll talk about what we wanted to do. But with this link, this is all the stuff that you need to put together this camera. And I went into the code which is in a GitHub repo. Very nice, like all the parts you need to buy, everything to build this, and then also the code. So there is a mail.py, so this is using Python, that with some easy changes, instead of sending this via an SMTP server, and I believe they have this hooked up to their Gmail, we can make some changes using the Courier Python library to just make a simple send call and take care of what's going to happen with that. So we talked about this a lot. So what, as someone who uses Courier, do you think would be a good idea to do with this information? So once the camera detects that there's somebody there, and then we have this information, like what channel should we use? What should we do with it?
Yeah, well, so we had thought of, I mean, obviously we want to send a notification triggered by the motion on the camera. And because, there's a couple ways we could have done this. We could have sent an SMS to our phone or an email. But I think we fell on using Slack because of the rich content that you can send and the ability to have some actions and things like that. So I think the plan is to have a Slack notification come through when you get a trick-or-treater at your door that's detected by the camera.
Yeah, so like not only can we could post this to a channel. So with our Slack integration, we can do DMs, so direct messages. We can also post to a channel, whether it be public or private. But I think in our head, we would post this to a public channel and present the picture that's sent along, and then give some options. So with Slack and BlockKit, we can put some pretty rich content in there. We were thinking some buttons, so we can choose whether we're going to, award them with a treat or hit them with a trick. So I think that's the way we're going to go, and we want to focus on building out that experience, because I've done a lot of things with Slack, but I've not done anything, at least not live, with these interactive buttons. So I want to talk about how we can use those with Courier. So let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing that we're going to need is we're going to have to build a Slack bot. So if you have an existing Slack bot, you can do this all the same, but just to kind of show people, walk through the steps of building a Slack app, we'll go ahead and create one from scratch. So this is my little test environment. So I've got Courier test. If you've watched any of the other programs that I've done, that's Courier Live. Okay, so I have a channel for Courier Live. This has got whenever we were playing around with doing the BART times. So we're going to use this as our test Slack instance, and we'll go ahead and create a new app. And you can do that by going to api.slack.com/apps. I've got a number of them here. I've got the BART app. I got Pigeon Weather, lots of different test apps. But I'm going to go ahead and add a new one. And so we need to have a name for this app. And this is going to be who's going to be posting to that channel. What's a good name for the Slack app?
Let's see, pull up my Halloween vocabulary. Maybe ghoulish, or Jack O' Lantern.
Jack O' Lantern. Let's do that. Jack O. Is it capital O? I don't know.
That's fine. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll call it Jack O' Lantern. We're going to install it into the Courier test workspace. So we'll go ahead and create that. And now there's a few things that we need to set to make it work with Courier. There's a lot of customization that you can do down here. So like we could add an app icon. I don't have one ready. We can set a background color, short description. We already got the app name. We can go back and do that later, but we have an app. So we want to go over to the OAuth and permissions. Now we need to give this app permission to post to a channel. And let's see if I can do this off of the top of my head. If not, we have docs.courier.com. And if you go to our integration guides into direct message integrations and Slack, this is going to tell you everything about what you need to to send different types of messages. And so we're going to be sending to a channel, and let's see, there's a base. So chat right is the scope that we need to be able to send to a channel. And I think that's all we need because we're not sending a direct message. If you want to send a direct message as well, you need to add other scopes to give information. And we have these handy little call outs here to talk about which one. So if you're sending a direct message, it requires additional scopes. So let's go back over. Let me find the right tab. We are going to, not the redirect URLs, we're going to add a scope. And I said chat right. So we add that scope. Success. We're going to add the app to the workspace. We're going to allow. And then we should see it show up over here. So here's our jack-o'-lantern.
Great.
And if we want that to show up as online, which most of the times you do, you can go into, I believe it's app home, and select this always show my bot is online. And so that will just put the green dot next to it. Cool. All right. So we've got the jack-o'-lantern. One piece of information. Okay. So kind of getting ahead of myself. To send a notification to a channel using Courier, we need two pieces of information for the profile. We need the channel, which is a channel ID, and then we need the access token. So back in the OAuth permissions, once we installed it into our workspace, it gave us this bot user OAuth access token.
Okay.
Now, normally you don't want to show people this, but I'll just delete this app after we're done here. But this is what we're going to need. So we'll save this for later whenever we get to the point where we want to send the message and we can fill out that profile. But we'll come back for this.
Okay.
So we now have a bot that we can use to post to the channel. The other thing I should mention, if you want to post to a channel, your bot has to be a member of it. So we'll come back over here. We want to post to this Courier Live, or actually let's make a new channel.
Okay.
We'll create a channel. We'll call it Trick or Treat. So this will be the Trick or Treat channel. If you're interested in seeing the trick or treaters are coming to your house, you can join this channel. Nice and optional. We'll go ahead and create. And then we need to add people. And I'm going to invite. Whoa, this is new. I hit I think I hit this shortcuts. We don't want to use a shortcut. I'm just going to invite. Oh, Slack has changed things. Okay, invite someone to the channel. Or no, we're going to add apps to this channel.
Okay.
So before, you could do /invite and then at your bot, and that would add it in. Now we've got some new things going on. So I'm just going to go add an app to the channel, and I'm going to pick Jack-o'-lantern. And so now it says that I've joined along with Jack-o'-lantern. Jack-o'-lantern is part of the getting some weird things on StreamYard. Jack-o'-lantern is part of the channel now, so they are able to post to it. And so now we can move over and actually create it. So we're going to assume that we have this IoT device set up. It's in our pumpkin. It's sitting on our front porch, and it's ready to send messages to Courier. So we can jump into Courier, and we'll just start a new notification. Cool. All right. So we'll go to our designer and create a new notification. And if you don't, I feel like I'm just like, I do this so many times that like I just feel like I'm jumping past things. But if you don't have the Slack integration installed, you can go to our integrations, click on Slack, and then hit save, which is really all that you need to do. But that configures Slack to be used by Courier. So back to the designer. Let's create a new notification. So we'll call this Trick or Treater Alert.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And like Nate said, we're going to use Slack. We have the Slack app hooked up. So I'm just going to come over here and click on Slack, and that's going to add it over here. Now, all right. So what is this message going to look like? Any ideas? Any ideas, Nate?
Well, I mean, it has to have some kind of headline.
Okay. So to do that, I'm going to add a new text block, and I'm going to click header. So one new capability we have with our GUI drag and drop designer is we can now set text blocks as headers in Slack very easily, just clicking that button. So let's see. How about here? Oh, here comes a trick or treater.
Uh-huh.
And just for fun, let's go ahead and throw in a little pumpkin emoji.
Yep.
All right. Now we probably want to display the photo that was passed by the device in.
Right.
And so we can do that by just adding an image block. And we'll configure the image block. Always good to do an alt description. So I'm just going to put trick or treater. And then for the image, we're going to use the one that's being passed over, and we're going to assume it's being passed in the data as a URL. Okay. So the variable for that, I'm trying to come up with like something something like really smart, but I think like image URL.
Yep.
We'll say that's what it is. So we're going to be using a variable that's passed into data, and to be able to do that, you can just surround that by a single mustache or curly parens or whatever you want to call them. And why can't I go to the bottom? Did it not? Oh no.
You have to make your window bigger.
I'm as big as it can get. Okay, so trick or treater. I might have to like drag it onto another screen.
Oh no, I see that there's a bug with the image blocks modal where the controls have scrolled off the bottom. This is a live bug we're looking at.
Oh, okay. Well, we're right on top of that. So
yeah, but it is being addressed.
Okay. So I'm gonna grab this and try to, okay, have to disconnect it and drag it. Do what I want. Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna come onto a different screen. I'm gonna hit apply, and then I'm gonna bring it back down. There we go. We did it.
Great.
Okay, so we have our image with the URL. And then the last thing we need to do is add these buttons. So we do have an action block that we could add in our UI, but we want to be able to do two buttons side by side. And so to be able to do that, we're going to utilize a JSON block. And I'm going to...
For those who don't know what JSON is, like give a...
That's good call. Good call. So a JSON block allows us to build JSON objects and also merge in information from our data or from our profile. So we can merge into it and respond with a JSON block. So here is a template, and actually we can use this as a start for doing actions. And so you can see that this is elements, and it's pulling in values from the data from button text and button value. So if we wanted to dynamically create buttons based on what's being passed in, we can do that using JSON, and all we need to do is output BlockKit blocks. So BlockKit is the UI for Slack. So let's take this as a start, and I'm going to remove this comment and try to make this pretty. Now, Okay, so we have the actions, and inside the actions is elements, and this is going to be buttons. So we're going to do type button. It's going to be plain text, I believe. Yeah, so it has to be plain text. It handles emojis, and so what we need to do is put in text. And so for our first button, we'll make this one the trick. And so we'll make it say trick. But then let's also do something fun and include the little ghost emoji. Cool. And then for the value of this button, I am just going to have the value be trick. Okay. And then I'm going to copy this object and paste it and make some changes so we also have. So the second button that we're going to have is treat. And for this one, there is a candy emoji. So I feel like that feels appropriate. So we'll do candy. And the value, we'll change this to treat. And we have two buttons.
What's your favorite candy as a Halloween trick-or-treater?
Oh my gosh. I remember growing up, the Reese's Cups.
Oh my God, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. Well, I had to hide them before my brother found them because so my brother is 5 years older than me, and then I'm the oldest of my siblings, and so we had to hide the good stuff because he would root around in our candy bag and take out all the things he liked. But it was the Reese's Cups, and then also I'm a big Butterfingers fan.
Yeah. Well, my parents had the thing where they called it the parent tax. So after we went out like, I want that, I want that, I want that. But luckily my dad liked Three Musketeers. So I was like, I would never choose that, but some houses, they just put it in your bag. And so I luckily would take things I didn't really like.
Parent tax. That's good. Yeah. I'll have to remember that.
I plan to employ that as well.
Yeah, no. I mean, it seems good to me. I need to turn off my notification sounds. Let me go up here. It's the one thing that I usually do before we start this, and I forgot. Okay, so that's all we need to do to create our action block that has the two buttons side by side. It's not going to look too pretty here, but we can do a preview. I'm going to create a test event. Let's put in some data. So I went looking on the internet and I found a picture of a trick-or-treater that wasn't too revealing of the kid who's underneath it. But we're going to put in, I called that image URL, I believe. And I'm going to copy that link that I stole from Google Images. And I'm going to go ahead and queue up the profile. So to be able to send the Slack, we need the profile to contain a Slack object. And that object is going to take an access token. Oops. I'm just going to make that blank for right now. And then it also needs a channel. So we'll fill out that information in a minute whenever we go to do a test send. So this is our test event. So I'll go ahead and create that. And so it's going to render a preview, and the previews for Slack are rendered in BlockKit. And so let's do, cool. So there's a pretty JSON object of BlockKit. And so that's what it looks like when we send it over to Slack. But we have this handy little button here where we can view what this will look like in Slack using the BlockKit builder. And so if we click that, it will open it up in a new window. And you can see, here comes a trick-or-treater. We've got the image, and then we've got our trick and our treat buttons.
Great.
Cool. So let's work on sending this to our test Slack notification. So I'm going to close this. And then I can go into manage test events. And we want to fill out these. So earlier I talked about the bot access token. when we were creating our app. So I'm going to go through and copy that. And that's going to go as the access token.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need the channel. There's different ways of getting the channel ID. You can use the API to pull it out. If you're just wanting to send something really fast, an easy way to do it is open your Slack in a browser, go to the channel. So I'm in the Trick or Treat channel. And this last part of the URL that starts with a C is going to be the channel ID. So I'm just going to copy it straight from there.
Okay.
Cool. And we'll go back, this one, and I'm going to copy it in or paste it into the channel. All right, so I've updated our test event. It's got the information that we need to be able to send from Slack, which means that we can go over first. I'm going to hit publish changes. Anytime you make changes to the notification, you're going to want to make sure to publish changes, or you're going to get, the draft version if there is one, or you're going to get not your current changes.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll use the new send tab to send this, since we don't have the IoT device up and running. So we can go over here. The notification ID and the recipient ID are fine how it is. We put everything we needed into the profile. So you can see that it's generated code for Node.js, curl, Go, PHP, etc. So you can copy that out and put it into your, also Python. So if you wanted to see what you needed to include in that project to make it work with that camera, we got Python code right here for you. But we're selected our test event, and that's what filled in these values. So we can just go ahead and hit send notification. And hopefully if we go over here, boop. Now I don't know why it's putting the image twice. There might be some image unfurling that's happening. I need to look into that. But we got a notification into our Slack channel with the trick or treater at our door. We have our little header, and then we have buttons. But currently, these buttons don't do anything, and you can see that it's generating a little bit of an error.
Okay.
Now it's time to make those work, and you will need some kind of server to handle these interactions. And so to do that, I'm going to use Glitch. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a simple little Node.js and Express app to capture the events that are happening. And so I'll go over to my Glitch tab. I'll create a new project, and we'll choose the Hello Express app.
You love Glitch. You use it in all your...
I do. Well, it makes it really easy. Oh, we got... Danny loves M&Ms and Peeps.
Oh, wow.
So interesting thing about Peeps, they're not making the Halloween ones this year because of COVID. They're short supply and they can't do their run of Peeps. And so they're only going to be doing the batch of Easter ones come Easter time next year. So there's a Peep shortage.
Candy corn. Wow, this is some old school stuff. I didn't even know Peeps. I never think of Peeps as a Halloween candy anyways.
Yeah.
If I brought home an unwrapped Peep, I would never have been able to eat that anyways. I would have gone in this could have a razor in it, garbage bag.
Yeah. I just like putting Peeps in the microwave, but don't do that if there's a razor in it. It's probably not good. Okay, so this creates kind of a basic Express app for you. So there's a lot of things in here that we don't need, our dreams and things like that. So we're gonna create a route that words are escaping me today. A route that Slack can use once you hit that button. And so let's use some helper packages from npm. And so we're going to do @Slack. We need the web API. That's one. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow us to replace the message once we get it. And then the other one is going to help us accept the message, and that is its Okay, let's see if I can do this from memory. Slack enter. I'm in the wrong. Okay, actually go down to the add package and Slack interact. Okay, Slack interactive messages. See, now it pops up. And we should have 2 packages added. Yeah, so web API interactive messages. Okay, so we're going to have to create a route that accepts the post from Slack. So what's going to happen is whenever you hit the button, one or the other Slack button, Slack is going to post to an endpoint. And so this is what we're creating. We're creating that endpoint. So let's go ahead and create one. If you've used Express before, this is going to be pretty similar. So we're going to create a route, and I'm going to do it up near the top because Slack has some weird encoding things, and it makes it easier. So we're going to do app.use. And the route that we're going to use is /slack/interactions. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a Slack integrations module, which is an instance of one of the helpers that they provide in this package, and then access its request listener. So it kind of acts like a middleware for Express. So this is the techie part. We'll get through it. So I'm going to say that that's going to be called Slack interactions. And then off of it, it's going to be request listener. And so we actually need to create that. Well, do you ever do that on Chrome where you like do the 2 finger slide, but you end up going back?
Yes.
Like it's been a pain since like Chrome came out, and there might be a way to turn that off. I really should. Okay. So luckily Glitch saves automatically for you. So everything that I typed in got saved. So I kind of pulled this out of nowhere. So we need to actually create that. And so we're going to say that this is going to come from we're going to require in a file, and that file is going to live at routes Slack interactions. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So let's create that file. So we'll do a new file. We'll call it routes Slack interactions. I like to be organized in my Express apps, and so that's why there's so many folders, because we are creating essentially a routes folder or a route. Okay. Yeah. So here's that file, and we can pull in. Copy this out. This create message adapter, and we are going to create a new one. So we're going to do const Slack integrations equals create message adapter. And this takes a Slack signing secret. And so in previous Courier Lives, you've seen me interact with Slack, and I've done my own signing verification. What's nice about this package is it takes care of it for you. So all you have to do is provide it with the signing secret. And so I'm going to store that as a environment variable because it is a secret. You should probably not show it to anybody. But again, after this, I'm just going to delete this app, so it's not going to matter. You also have the ability to regenerate that signing secret. So to pull it from an environment variable, we're going to do process.m.slack signing secret. Okay, and we'll grab that here in a minute. And then, so this is created, we're going to go ahead and do a modules.export. And that's what allows us to pass it back to the front. We called it in the server.js. And we're going to set that equal to Slack integrations. Cool. And with Glitch, you can, you know what I did? I did not put .js at the end. I was like, where's my coloring? We're coding it live.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then we can even hit format, and it will do some pretty things. So let's take care of that secret. We'll go into the. Oh, that's not it. There's too many things that look like Slack. We'll go into here, and we'll go to our app home. And nope, it's actually basic information. There we go. And it's a signing secret. So I'm going to go ahead and show. I'm going to copy this in, or copy that. And we're going to go to the .m file. So Glitch will automatically maintain this .m file for you and load in the values into that process.m. I'm going to create, what did I call it? Slack signing secret. We're going to paste that in. And so now you can pull that in using the process.env. And if you're using Glitch and someone comes along and remixes it, it will leave the key in, but it will scrub the value. So it's a great way to share your code without actually sharing your secrets.
I see.
Yeah. Okay. What are you upset? Oh, I do this all the time. Module.export.
Mm-hmm.
And did I spell this wrong? Slack forgot the R. Integrations. Hey, there we go. All right. So this basically works. This creates a route that Slack can use, but it doesn't do anything. And so we can add actions to it to handle when the buttons come. And so to do that, we can do Slack integrations. Am I spelling integrations right? Like, I feel like
Got an extra R there. Integration.
Oh my gosh, it's everywhere too. I was like, why does this not look right? Because I can't spell.
Like integrations.
Integrations. And that just might be my Hoosier heritage leaking through when we say integrations. So,
My mom's a Hoosier. I don't know if I ever told you that.
oh, I did not know that. She must be a good person.
Yeah.
Most Hoosiers are good people. I won't tell you which ones aren't. It's not that kind of show. All right. So we can create an action. So what we're looking for. So we're looking for the button, and we can put in a constraint. And so we can say, we need an action if the type is button, because there are lots of different controls that would hit this route. There are buttons, there are drop downs, lots of different interactive controls that are part of BlockKit. And so I'm going to say we're looking for a button, and then we are also looking for an action ID, and we need one for BTN trick. Actually, did we put the action IDs in? I need to look. I don't think we did. Let's go back here to our design. And we got the type button. Oh, no, we didn't add action IDs. That makes it easy to figure out what button has been clicked. So an action ID for button trick and an action ID for button treat. And that just allows us to add a constraint and know exactly what's going to happen when each one gets hit.
Yep.
So I'm going to publish those changes so I don't forget. We'll go back over to our interactions. So we got one for button trick. And that is going to take a function. So whenever that constraint is hit, it's going to call a function, wrong one, payload, and a respond function. So this is one action. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just console.log the payload, just so we can see what comes over. And then I'm going to do this again for our other button. So button treat.
Great.
And I'm going to get the console up here. So here's all our logs. We'll clear that out. Now we need to actually hook it up so Slack knows to use it. And the easiest way to do that is to go to this show and open it in a new window. This will give you your glitch URL. And we're going to tack on Slack. Interaction. Back over here and make sure pulling the right thing in. It is really big. /Slack/interactions. Yes. Okay, so we're going to take this URL. We're going to go back to our Slack app.
Okay.
And we're going to do interactivity and shortcuts. And we're going to turn that on. And we're going to put our URL right here. So this is the URL that's going to post to whenever we click one of the buttons.
Okay.
You hit save changes. Do I have to? I don't think I have to reinstall the app because I didn't change permissions. I'm going to do it anyway. Never hurts. Never hurts to reinstall the app. And so now we can go back over to Courier because I made those changes. I need to send a new one so we can play with the buttons. So I'm going to send that notification.
So what this is going to do now is those buttons should we shouldn't get the errors anymore when we click those buttons.
Right. We shouldn't get the error, and it should actually hit this glitch app that we are creating. So let's go back over here. So this is our new message. And we have these buttons. So if I hit trick, very quickly you saw it like do a little load. And if we go over here, we have a lot of response information. Cool. So that one's for BTN trick. And then we could also go over here and we could hit treat.
Mm-hmm.
And it also spits out things. So that's how you hook it up to glitch. One thing that we want to do is we want to make sure that these buttons can only be hit once. And so what we have the ability to do is replace the message. And what I want to be able to do is replace the message with everything except for those buttons. And then for something fun, let's say who clicked the button and what button they clicked. And so to do that, inside this payload, which is really hard to see, let me make this bigger. We actually get back, and it's probably going to say object, 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 but we get back a reference to the message and then the blocks that were used to build it. And so we can grab those blocks, pull out what we don't want, add what we do, and then post those back.
Okay.
So let's do that pretty quickly. One thing that I've done, let's go back over to this file, is I created a function, and I'm going to copy that in and tell you what it does, that gets the reply. Paste that in here. So I found that for image blocks, it gives you more information that you want, and it will actually cause the API to fail. So I've created a function that will take the payload, it will pull the blocks off, it will filter out any action blocks, so that removes those buttons, and then it also fixes the image block and then returns that back to you. And then we can use that to add on the other block. So let's go ahead and do all of that for the trick. So let's grab a reply. Okay. So for the reply, it's going to be an array of blocks. So we're going to start with the blocks that we grab from the payload. So whatever the result of that function is. So in our case, it's going to be a header block. It's going to be an image block. And it should just be 2 blocks. And so I'm going to spread that out, and then I'm going to add in a new section with a message. So I'm putting our little ghost in there. I'm doing the little magic thing to mention a Slack user. And I can grab the user ID of the person who did the interaction off the payload by doing payload.user.id, and then chose trick. And so now we have an array of block kit elements. Question?
Yeah, I think chose. You need 1 O.
Oh my gosh. Again, welcome back to Aydrian Can't Spell. Choose. Okay. So we have our block. We have our array of block kit elements. And so all we have to do is send those. And we can use the web API that we pulled in. So to do that, let's add the web API to the top. And we need to create an instance of the client. And that is going to require that auth token, that bot access token that we are using in Courier. So we'll pull that in as well. So I'm going to create an instance of web. And I'm going to use the Slack token from the environment variable, which means that we actually need to create that. So I'm going to go back over to the EMV and add Slack token. We'll go back to our Slack app. We'll copy this token. Not that one. We're done with you. And paste that in so we have access to it. Again, don't share your Slack access token. Don't share your Slack secret. I'm going to be deleting these, I promise. And now that we have a web client, we can use the update function. So where does this end? Okay, there. So we can say web.chat.update. We can pass it the channel that we're going to post to, and we can grab that right off the payload. Same thing with the timestamp. So you can replace messages in Slack using bots by referencing their timestamp. We have where you can do that inside Courier as well. The reason we're not using Courier for this portion is because we have to pass like raw blocks, and I didn't put together a good way to do that. So it's just a real quick thing to replace this message using Node since we're already in there. Okay. And then for the blocks, we're passing this array that we created for reply. And so that will take away those buttons, and it will add that message. And then from here, you can decide what it is that you want to do as part of the trick. So we've talked about, internally, we talked about reaching back out to like the Raspberry Pi, have it strobe a light, play a spooky sound, maybe turn on a fog machine. And the sky's the limit. And that's really up to you with whatever you want to make it a spooky environment or a trick. So we'll do this, and then very similarly for the treat, we're gonna do the same thing. So I'm just gonna copy this, and then we'll make some changes. Cool. And so now I'm gonna put the candy back in, and we'll say that they chose treat. And then the same thing here, after this chat update runs, you can run whatever function you want to deliver the treat. So internally, we talked about different mechanisms for like releasing some kind of candy. Something that I was looking into actually building. Maybe one day I will. But that involves like servos and hardware that I'm not used to. But we'll leave the actual function up to you. See that I copied and pasted, that I make all the changes I need. So it's very similar. We're just changing this message here. Cool. So now we can go back, and because those buttons still exist somewhere, so if I hit trick now, it runs, it removes those buttons, and it puts in the message. It says Aydrian chose trick.
Yeah.
And then if we are to go back to Courier and send another one, oh, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
I should have come up with like different pictures so we wouldn't get confused. But we can do the same thing by clicking on treat. It will process, remove the buttons, and show that we chose treat.
Great.
Yeah. So this is just like, one fun thing that you can do with like that camera project. It doesn't have to be for trick-or-treaters. You could hook that up outside of your office or your home and have it feed in. And then with Courier, you could even do other things like, depending on, let's say, the time of the day or whatever condition you want to put in, you can make it go to a different channel if you don't want to do Slack. So maybe you're outside of the hours that you're actively looking at Slack and you want it to go to an SMS. We can do that as well. The buttons will not work, but there are different mechanisms that you can do for responding to SMS, and we've done those for different things. So
you could connect these to other IoT things too, right? Like you could build this to give people access to your office or
exactly. Yeah. So think about having like the camera out, it detects somebody, it shows a picture, and there might be a button for like open door or call the police. I don't know. The sky's the limit with the buttons. We added 2 here. You can add more. We even talked about the ability to kind of dynamically build buttons based on information you pass over in data. It's very powerful, and buttons are just one of the controls that Slack gives you access to.
Awesome.
So yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. This is fun. I like playing with Slack. I like playing with the block kit things. And then, I love building things with Glitch. But this was just a very simple example. I'm going to have, the Glitch code available for you. You can remix it if you like. Try to create your own. The blog post will be coming out next Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, thanks for coming back, Nate, and talking Halloween with me. Sure. And thanks to everybody out there for sticking with us as we built this out.
Thanks, Aydrian.
Yeah, let me switch I got my mouse lost, so we'll switch the scenes and we'll say goodbye. So see y'all later. Bye.